welcome back to my channel. My name is Gwen and I'm here to share my reading experience for the Backlist Readathon. If you don't know what the Backlist Readathon is, it's basically a readathon. There's a bunch of hosts and they decided to host this readathon dedicated to backlist books. So nothing coming out in 2020, no new releases, just backlist stuff. Everybody seems to have like a different definition of what backlist is, but you know, it is what it is. They're basically trying to go back in time and read all the books on their bookshelf. So I went ahead and I made a TBR video. I'm not really organized for this intro here. This is my bullet journal spread for the readathon. Basically, there are 6 prompts. The readathon runs from March 9th to the 15th. Read your shortest backlist book, read a book on your backlist that intimidates you, read a book on your backlist that you've added as a recommendation, you're most excited for, diverse, and last but not least, blue on the cover. So they give you 7 days to accomplish 6 goals, and you can like overlap and stuff like that. So I chose for my shortest Black Beauty, my one that intimidates me, the Bell Jar, a recommendation, All the Ugly and Wonderful Things. Let's see, most excited, The Simple Wild, diverse, To Be Honest, and blue on the cover, The Flat Share. But like I said, some of mine do overlap. Several of them have blue on the cover, 3 of them do. A couple of them I have been recommended, The Flat Share and The Simple Wild and All the Ugly and Wonderful Things. Intimidates you, the only one that really intimidates me is probably Black Beauty and the Bell Jar, because Black Beauty is a classic and classics are really hit or miss for me, and the Bell Jar because I've tried reading it many times. So some of these do overlap. Diverse, probably just To Be Honest that I know about. Anyway, the point being, there's my TBR, and I have decided that of those books, my first read is going to be The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary. This is definitely a recommended book by Chelsea, and she's the first one that like really made me interested because she absolutely loved it, and her like contemporary stories are like stuff that I like ones that she enjoys, I enjoy. So this is a contemporary story about Tiffy and Leon, and they decide to share a flat, not really knowing each other. Leon puts out an advert about being able to share his flat. He works a night shift as like a nurse, or I'm not sure of his title, but anyway, basically he works night, so he only needs the apartment from the daytime and she needs it at nighttime. So he puts out this advert, hey, I have this flat, I think it's like a 1-bedroom, so they'd have to share the bed, and he's dating a girl and she doesn't seem too keen on the idea, but she's like, let me meet the girl. So Tiffy's been looking for a place because she's been living at her ex-boyfriend Justin's house for a while. She's finally ready to move on from that, and she, you know, is the one that finally gets the flat with Leon. So they're sharing this flat together and they never see each other because he works at night and she works during the day. And she works for this company that does like DIY books. She's like an editor, and he works in like I can't think of the word right now. I totally cannot think of what he does, but I'm sure I'll be able to share more as I start reading it. But yeah, so they're gonna share this flat and they're never gonna see each other. Perfect idea. So she brings all of her stuff, she moves in, and it's basically about them sharing this space without seeing each other. And of course, you know, Tiffy dealing with her breakup from this guy that, you know, she thought she was going to spend the rest of her life with because she only remembers the good memories. And of course there's bad ones because why else would they have broken up? And then Leon is obviously dealing with something because he really needs the money, but he seems to have like a good job. So we'll see what that is all about. So I'm going to jump into this. I'm really excited for it. And I hear that It's told in alternating chapters. Tiffy and Leon get their own chapters, but that they're written very differently. Tiffy's are more, I always think Tiffy's are more standard writing, you know, everything. And then Leon's are more bullet points, no quotation marks, etc. So that should be an interesting reading experience. And I also heard that they start leaving notes to each other, probably about stuff in the apartment or whatever. And I think a romance, you know, blossoms between these two. So we shall see. Hi friends, I'm home from work and I'm in my comfy clothes. I'm gonna do a rundown of my thoughts on the flat share and tell you my plans for this evening, and then I will check in once I finish the flat share, hopefully tonight. So yes, I'm currently reading The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary, and I was right. It's told in alternating chapters, Tiffy and Leon, and Tiffy's are more like standard, you know, writing, and Leon's are more bullet points, no quotation marks, kind of. His chapters are like things that he's observing, he like says them, or it's written. So it's kind of interesting. I am really enjoying the story. There's definitely some depth to the characters and their backstories and all of that. Leon seems very much an introvert. Tiffy's very much an extrovert. And it's very apparent. And I just like their dynamic. They are leaving notes for each other. Like Tiffy likes to bake when she's stressed. And so they're just kind of like trading back and forth about that type of stuff. And then they're kind of telling a little bit about their lives or what they're going through and stuff like that. So I'm enjoying it. The only thing is that writing, I think that I'll eventually get used to it, but right now it's just kind of awkward. Okay, so my plan right now while I read is to repaint my nails. I'm going with this Essie splash of grenadine color. It's 216. I got it last spring. It's what I have on my nails right now. As you can see, some nails are totally bare. Yeah, so I'm gonna repaint my nails, so I have to take my polish off. I have this base coat from Sally Hansen. It's the spray-on base coat. So it'll be my second time using that. Yeah, and then I'm gonna paint my nails so they're all ready for Wednesday. I don't like to do them the night before, just in case I get like rushed or frustrated and, you know, I don't do a good job. So anyway, and I got my water because as you can tell, I'm really still stopped up. Last thing is my student brought me this gigantic rock to school today. They found it at their house. I'm probably going to clean it up, and it's pretty hefty, so I can use it as a paperweight here on my desk. Yeah, I got this rock from one of my students. Just wanted to check in really quick and tell you guys how, oh, I painted my nails. They're all done. I'm letting them dry, but I just wanted to check in and tell you guys that I love Leon. He is such a good person, and he's just melting my heart, you guys. Guys, I'm a mess, but I just finished reading The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary, and I loved it. I will say that Leon's chapters were hard to get into. It got easier as I was reading, but this story is so, I don't know, it's so great. Both of the characters are dealing with some crappy things. There's an issue with Leon's brother. I don't want to spoil it. And Tiffy with her ex Justin. But I cried so many times, and just the amount of consent between these two and the fun and spontaneity and like support and friendship and just everything that they go through, and like they understand and they give each other space, and it's just so good. But there's definitely trigger warnings, I would say, for emotional abuse and entrapment, but it's so good. And just the support system that Tiffy has is so amazing. But I love them together so much. So I was gonna rate it like 4 out of 5 stars because of Leon's chapters. Not that I didn't like what was happening during them, but they were just written so weird. Yeah, I loved it and I got used to it, so I'm rating it 5 out of 5 stars. That's my first book for the Backlist Readathon. All right, I'm checking in. It's not the next morning, but I decided what I'm gonna read. I'm gonna go ahead and pick up the shortest book on my TBR, my Backlist TBR, Black Beauty. I already started reading it. I'm already on chapter 3, page 10, and since it's so short, I should be able to get through it fairly quickly. So I'll probably be able to maybe finish this tonight and a little bit tomorrow, and then start another book, which would be really good. Yeah, that's the plan, because I just have an errand after work. I usually go to the gym on Tuesdays, like after work, for like an hour and a half, but I'm not going to the gym tomorrow. I just have my one little errand to run, so I should be back here at like 4 p.m. No, not even, because it's my short day. So it's my short day tomorrow, so I should definitely be able to finish this after my errand and pick up something else. So yeah, Black Beauty, shortest one on my backlist. Good morning, friends. Welcome to day 2 of the Backlist Readathon. I realized that this vlog will probably be pretty boring because I work Monday through Friday, and when I get home, because I'm not able to read during the day, I know I have this set right here. It's got like a little scab over it. We're gonna let it be. Anyway, yeah, so because I work, I come home and all I do is literally read because I need to get through the book. That's what I did yesterday with the flat share. I woke up, I read, I went to work, I came home, I read, and I read through until I was finished. And then I started Black Beauty. Because it's the shortest one, and I figured I could probably get this one out of the way and start another one today. I mean, I guess I kind of did that yesterday, but you get what I'm saying. Current reading update of Black Beauty. Like I said, I started this yesterday. I am currently on page 99 of 203, and it's chapter 26. The beginning part was so sweet. Like, Black Beauty had the best life, and I was so happy for him, but like at the same time, seeing things from a horse's perspective really made me think about, I mean, I am a gigantic animal lover, and I love animals more than people, to be honest. So hearing how to break in a horse and all of that, it just did kind of make me a little sad. I guess Black Beauty talks about things from a horse's perspective, so obviously it seems a little bit rough, but he does go to a good home, or he has a very good first home, and then he gets moved to this other home, and it's okay, but things start going downhill. And I just moved into part 2, and it's just so sad. I mean, I don't know how many of you have ever read Black Beauty or seen the movie. I don't think I've ever watched the movie. But I don't know if I could watch the movie. But I'm so sad for Black Beauty, like what just happened when I stopped reading. Basically, the horse on Black Beauty had a loose nail in the shoe, and before the guy was taking it back to the house for the night, and told him of the nail and asked if he should have the shoe looked at. "No," said Smith, "that will be all right until we get home." Well, of course it's not okay, especially because of like the way they're going home, and it's all of these like freshly stoned paths that they're going on. He was like whipping him even though he was going at full speed, and the roads were stony, having been recently mended. Going over them at this pace, my shoe became looser, and when we were near the turnpike gate, it came off. So his shoe is now off, and he's running over. And then it says, beyond the turnpike was a long piece of road upon which fresh stones had just been laid, large sharp stones over which no horse could be driven quickly without risk of danger. And of course he's missing a shoe, and this guy's just like whipping him as fast as he could go. Of course my shoeless foot suffered dreadfully. The hoof was broken and split down to the very quick, and the inside was terribly cut by the sharpness of the stones. So he stumbled and fell. The horse stumbled and fell, and of course the rider got thrown off, and of course the horse immediately moved to the non-stone path, and then I guess the guy Smith is just like laying on the road with no motion and all of that. I'm yawning. It's gonna be dark and gloomy outside today. It's supposed to be a rainy day. Anyway, it's so sad to see that the horse was in pain and the guy didn't recognize it because he was drunk. It just makes me so sad. Okay, I wanted to give you a quick update before I head to work. I'm currently on page 125. I just started part 3, and part 2 was heartbreaking. Like, it was mainly like people that just didn't know how to treat horses at all, and they used them for business, and they didn't think of them as like pets, or you know, they considered them working animals. Hello friends, I just got home from work and I got Charlie. What do you think, Charlie? Hi friends, I'm coming to you with a reading update. I just finished reading Black Beauty by Anna Sewell, and I absolutely loved this story because I am such an animal lover. I talked to you about it before, about how you know, like treating animals nicely and stuff like that. So we basically just follow Black Beauty's life from the time that he's a young colt and he's broken in as a horse and ready for work and learning all the bits and all of the things that go on a horse. I've never ridden a horse. I've always wanted to, but you know, it just doesn't happen for everybody. Anyway, then is sold off and changes hands quite frequently for various reasons, and it's told from the horse's point of view, which I think is very interesting. I think I really do like books that are told from animals' points of view. There's that manga like Cheese Sweet Home, and I love that. That's told from the cat's point of view, and this of course is told from Black Beauty's point of view. His name does change like through different owners, but I mean, we know him as Black Beauty. So not all of the homes were good, not all of the homes were bad. There was a mixture. Some definitely overworked horses, although I'm glad that Black Beauty didn't have like terrible, awful conditions for too long. And I liked that there were enough people around to make sure that not only Black Beauty, but like other horses in the story as well were not taken advantage of for like too long. Like if they saw a horse being mistreated, for example, they would always like step in and offer suggestions and stuff like that. So that was really good to see. But yeah, Black Beauty did have to endure like some hardships, that's for sure. But next up, I'm gonna move on to Be Honest by Maggie Ann Martin. This is a debut novel about our main character, Savvy. And she's feeling pressure from her mom. I guess her mom was recently on one of those weight loss TV shows, and she's lost a bunch of weight, and now she's kind of trying to get Savvy to do the same thing. So, oh, sorry, Savannah. So Savvy, I guess. Okay. So Savannah is dreading being home alone with her overbearing mother after her big sister, her and best friend, goes off to college. But if she can just get through senior year, she'll be able to escape to college too. What she doesn't count on is that her mother's obsession with weight has only grown deeper since her appearance on an extreme weight loss show, and now she's pressuring Savvy even more to constantly be mindful of what she eats. Between her mother's diet helicoptering, missing her sister, and stressing about her collegiate future, Savvy has enough to worry about. And then she meets George, the cute new guy at school who has insecurities of his own. As Savvy and George grow closer, they help each other discover how to live in the moment and enjoy the here and now before it disappears. So, sorry I have the whole post-nasal drip. I'm really stuffed up right now. But yeah, so this is the next story I'm gonna read. This one I'm reading for my diverse because obviously we have a plus size main character in Savannah. Hi friends, I thought I would check in. I basically just woke up from a nap. I finished Black Beauty. I jumped into To Be Honest. I'm currently on chapter 3, page 32. I do take off the dust jacket when I read. Yeah, I really like the start of this, but after those like 30 some pages, I was like, I'm just gonna lay down for a little nap. And yeah, my husband got home about like 4:30 and woke me up. Not on purpose, but like he went in the bedroom to like get changed and stuff. So yeah, so he woke me up. I made myself a blackberry smoothie. That's why it's so dark. I basically put in probably like this much frozen berry medley, which was strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, and then I put in like 1.5 bananas, and then in the top I put about a tablespoon of honey and fresh blackberries. And I forgot, but today I think my husband is going to play pool with his buddy. It's usually like a Tuesday evening thing they go, but he didn't go last week, and now that it's raining like this, I don't know if he'll go tonight, but if he does, that's good for me because I will drink this smoothie and jump back into my book. Okay, update. Husband is officially gone. I am on page 74. I'm almost finished with my smoothie and we're continuing. Hi friends, I'm coming to you with my last update of the evening for day 2. I just finished reading To Be Honest by Maggie Ann Martin, and I'm rating this story 4 out of 5 stars. I thought it was a really great contemporary, like a YA contemporary story about, it has a lot going on in the story actually. Our main character, Savannah, her best friend, sister, is moving to college. At the beginning, her mom and her are moving her sister into the dorm room. Her mom went on this weight loss, one of those extreme weight loss shows that she lost like an extreme amount of weight. And Savvy is fat, and her mom kind of starts like, you know, putting those little things out there, like, you know, you don't need this, you don't need that, try this, you know, things like that. She's missing her best friend, sister, but her other best friend, Grace, is kind of there for her in her absence. They are working on this journalism piece for their high school. Very good subject matter for that. There's also this boy George, who was kind of like initially it wasn't a thing, and then you thought it started becoming a thing, but then there was just like weird things going on. I wish that would have been handled like a little bit better. It was just like the whole miscommunication thing or like shyness thing. But it wasn't like terrible. There was also things going on with her mom. There was also a lot more diversity than I thought. Eating disorder. One of the characters is queer in some way. It wasn't exactly explicit. But the main character's sister is like, I don't know if she's like bi or a lesbian or anything, but she likes girls. And then there is the fat rep. So yeah, it was much more diverse than I was initially thinking. I'm so impressed with myself that not only did I finish Black Beauty, but I also managed to read this. And I'm glad that it had more diverse representation in it than I initially thought. Good morning, friends. It is day 3 of the Backlist Readathon, and I'm here with a reading update. I decided to go ahead and pick up All the Ugly and Wonderful Things. I have been recommended this by so many people. Just after hearing Gabby talk about it, then Jacqueline talked about it, and then when I posted my picture, people were talking about it. So I'm really just excited about this. And like I said, I had read a chapter already before. Of course, I reread that chapter, but yeah, so I'm currently on page 44, chapter 6, and it is told from different POVs, and at least the beginning part is set in the 70s. So that's an interesting time period. So I managed to read to page 70 before work, which is surprisingly 16%, which is almost 20%. That's how I'm looking at it anyway. But yeah, I am enjoying the story. It's just a lot of pieces to put together because there's so many POVs. Oh my gosh, you guys. I am so exhausted. I went and got Starbucks because today was a long ass day. I've already changed for tonight. My hair is so dirty, but oh well. Pictures went great. In my morning class, I was missing 1 student. In my afternoon class, I was missing 2 students. All right, I had to change my battery. As I was saying, today was so exhausting. Sorry, I'm like washed out. I'm moving around. Gotta charge this bad boy. There you are. There she is. I already took her outside. Didn't we go outside, Charlie? How cute is she, you guys? Oh my God. Ah! So yeah, it was really exhausting. My morning class though, I was only missing 1 student. My afternoon class, I was missing 2. And since it's such a small class, like it was really noticeable. The 1 student in my morning class didn't come because of like the coronavirus, and they're really worried about it. So they stayed home. Look at that, you guys. It's finally drying out, but I'm like, ugh, too late now. Then in my afternoon class, 1 student's out of town, 1 student's parent overslept. Nothing I could do about that. So it's just me and my boys in my afternoon class for the picture. But it went good. It's just so exhausting because it throws off the flow and schedule of the day. And it's just crazy how much just that little thing, like it really threw my morning class off because we couldn't eat snack until after we had our pictures taken. And we didn't get done taking our pictures until like 11:10 or 11, and we didn't finish eating snack until like 11:10, and we usually eat snack at 10. So we ate snack an hour late, which meant we didn't finish phonics, we didn't get to go outside, and the students were bummed, but you know, sorry. Good morning, friends. It is day 4 of the Backlist Readathon, And I have a small reading update for you. I told you I wasn't going to have much time to read yesterday, and I didn't. I basically didn't read anything until I went to bed last night. So I'm still reading All the Ugly and Wonderful Things, and I think yesterday morning before work I was on page 70, and I'm currently on page 120. So I'm 27% into the novel. I was able to read 50 pages last night before bed. I have about a few minutes before I go to work. I'm gonna read a little bit, but I do have my chiropractor appointment after work today, and then I think I'm just gonna come home and read. And then tonight me and my husband are gonna go grocery shopping, make dinner, watch our shows, and then I'll read a little bit before bed. Hi friends, I'm home from work. I went to my chiropractor appointment, then I went to Food Lion and got groceries. So I'm gonna do a super quick grocery haul. I got some toilet paper. I wasn't planning on it. I don't think we need any, but it was like sitting up there, and I was like, did someone not get their toilet paper? And I was like, I'll just take it. So toilet paper. I got some Asiago cheese bread. I got 24 large eggs. I pretty much have an egg or two every single morning for breakfast. So 24 large eggs. I got more of these, the biscuit roll-ups by Jimmy Dean. I got my husband the sausage, egg, and cheese. And I got myself the egg and cheese. I also got some of these, my favorite spring summer treats. These Italian ices, oh my god, they're so good. These are my favorite, the strawberry and watermelon. Next up, I got some individual honey packets. I know it's kind of not very eco-conscious, but for convenience. This is the biggest bag of white rice they had. I have a little bit in the pantry, but I needed more. I got these Nature's Bakery fig bars. And I also got this for our refrigerator, just for like the scent. And then some Wheat Thins, one of my favorite treats. And I got some OxyClean, because my husband said we were almost out. And I got a big box of Rice Krispies. Love Rice Krispies. I got Dunkin' Donuts K-Pods. We drink those religiously. I got some spicy guacamole. I got 4 yellow squash. And I got 4 zucchini. I got, let's see what else. Oh, I got 2 of these 6-packs of Mountain Dew, the little cans. They're like 7.5 ounces. Got 2 of those because it was like 2 for $5 or 2 for $7, or I don't know, 2 for something. I got the peaches and cream instant oatmeal. I got these Nature's Bakery oatmeal crumble and strawberry flavored. I got my favorite Keurig coffee, the Toasted Graham by Starbucks. I also got these dehydrated veggie chips. That's what I use for that. Let's see. We got half and half. I got milk, cow's milk. I got my favorite mango. I got some, these are veggie burgers. They're the Griller's Prime. These are probably my favorite veggie burgers other than Guy Ferrar's restaurants that he has, that he does a veggie burger. That's the best veggie burger. The Impossible Whoppers are pretty good, but these are really good. And I got triple berry frozen medley thing for smoothies. So that's what I got at the grocery store. Let me put this all away and I'll check in with you guys. I'm gonna sit down and read a little bit. I'm gonna dive into some of these veggie chips with this guacamole. I do love the spicy guacamole. It's by Good Foods, and it's actually not a lot because it's very concave right here. So this does not usually last me for all of this, and 2 is too much. So anyway, and I'm just drinking some ginger ale. Okay, so today went pretty good. I guess my work is, our higher ups in our school district are freaking out. They're thinking about closing the Virginia Beach schools. My school, we were to not focus on work today, but to focus on cleaning our classrooms, which I don't know if these people just don't understand how this virus works, or if they're doing it to make the parents feel better about the situation. Hello, I just woke up from a nap a little bit ago. I did not want to wake up. I am really tired, and the only reason I woke up, I guess, is because it was getting later. It's like 5:20, and I was like, where's my husband? And he had actually called like a half hour ago. Well, more than a half hour ago now. And I was like, what the heck? So he's getting home like an hour late today. But I do have a reading update. I am currently on page 192, which means I read 72 pages before I went to bed. Good morning, friends. Happy day 5 of the Backlist Readathon. Obviously, I just woke up. It is 7:30 in the morning, and I wanted to give you a reading update. I was able to read a little bit more last night. I'm going to log my pages now and see how much I actually read. I don't know how well I've been updating about what this story is about. What this book is about is our main character, I believe, is Wavy. And it starts the book off, she goes to stay with her aunt, I believe, yeah, it's in Amy's perspective, which is her cousin. So her Aunt Brenda takes her in because her mom is either in jail or in some kind of treatment facility or something like that. So she's staying with her Aunt Brenda, only for a very little while, because Wavy has a couple of habits. She's selective mute, which it never says that in the book, but that's what she is. She's selective mute. She only talks to certain people. It's very short clipped sentences. And there's reasons behind all of it. But she's selective mute, and she doesn't eat in front of other people. So whenever it's mealtime, she's not eating. She's just pushing her food around her plate. And then she sneaks off and eats food as she can. She breaks into other people's houses. She eats food out of the trash can after it's been thrown away, or goes into the refrigerator late at night after everybody's asleep, things like that. So she stays with her Aunt Brenda for a very short time, but because of her antics, the selective mute, the sneaking out, breaking into people's houses, things like that, that family can't really take her on at a time, so she goes to live with her grandmother, where things are better, but the grandmother obviously can't take care of her forever. So that doesn't work out. And then I don't want to like spoil why everything doesn't work out and stuff like that. So finally her mom is able to go into this, I guess, I don't know if she's like let out right away. I forget like if she's let out right away, or she goes into this like treatment facility and like taking pills and stuff like that to like get better. But she's finally able to go back and live with her mom, and things are good for a very short amount of time. But then things go back to bad. Well, the reason why things are so bad in Wavy's life and in her mom's life is because her dad is this like major meth like cook and dealer, and like they have this whole property. It's almost like this like farmhouse property where there's like the main house, and then like down the road there's like this warehouse, and then there's like all of these trailers, and like all of these different men and women live very close by. Liam, the dad, has several women that he keeps on taps, and he goes between all of them. And then there's other guys, Butch, and I can't remember any of the other ones. I think Kellen has his own place away from the property, but he also works for Liam. So they have this like whole cooking lab thing. And then of course it's like Wavy and her brother Donald and she starts off very young. I think she's like 5 years old, 4, 5 years old. And like I said, I think the book started in 75. And now it's like in the 80s. Like, so there's definitely been a passage of time, but the whole time, like, her whole situation living there is terrible because she's selective mute. It's not getting any better. Her mom and dad aren't really together. Her dad is always off like cooking or going on these jobs, and her mom is always like doped up or drunk, and just things happen along the way. As a product of her living situation, one day she's outside and there's this guy driving by on a motorcycle, and he sees Wavy, and because of that he kind of like fumbles and he wrecks, and she runs out to him and helps him back to her house, and he tells her to call Liam because that's his boss. So that's what she does. So instead of calling like the cops or the hospital or anything like that, she just calls Liam. So from there, a kind of unlikely friendship forms between these two because Wavy doesn't like to be touched. She, you know, it's all because of her freaking family. It's her mom and her dad, and her mom has told her these weird screwed up things because of what she believes. So she's pushed it on her daughter. Anyway, Wavy kind of comes to trust Kellen, and he rides her back and forth to school on the motorcycle, and because her parents are so absent, he often fills in that parental role with like teachers and the school and buying her clothes and making sure she has shoes without holes in them, and just generally treating her not good, not well, but better than her parents. And because of the environment that Wavy has grown up in, she and Kellen in their friendship, they've developed feelings for each other, and nothing happens while she is a child. But now that she's 13, 14 years old, I think she's 14 now, things are happening, and he has done certain things to say that she's his girl, and now sexual relations are being introduced into the story, and Wavy, of course, sees absolutely nothing wrong with this. And of course, Kellen, I don't know if he has like a learning disability or what, but he knows that like it's not taken lightly that Wavy's as young as she is and he is as old as he is. I think he's like 24. So there's definitely an age gap, and it's really just about their relationship as like kind of like a parental figure, a friendship, and then kind of blossoming into a relationship. So it is a very taboo subject, but oddly enough, I'm liking how it's handled. All right, quick check-in. I have less than 100 pages left. I'm on page 319, and it's 406 pages, so a little bit less than 100 pages to go. I think I'm just going to take a quick little break, and then I'm going to jump back in. Friends, I took like a 20-minute break, and I made another coffee, so I'm gonna sit down, read some more. It's 10:09 a.m. I'm hoping to finish this before my husband gets home for lunch. He usually gets home about 11:30, but on Fridays, if he's only gonna work half day, he will work later, so he can like, sorry, there was something on my lens, so he can get like off earlier. So I don't really know his plan for today. I guess it just depends like how his day is going, but I'm shooting to have this finished by like the normal 11:30 lunch hour. All right, I'm checking in. I'm on page 356, and this is just heartbreaking. Hi friends, I'm coming to you with a reading update. It's 11:36. I have to take Charlie outside. I just finished All the Ugly and Wonderful Things. I'm gonna rate this story 4 out of 5 stars. Probably more of like a 4.5, but I want to round it down. Charlie. I officially finished reading All the Ugly and Wonderful Things by Bryn Greenwood, and I definitely would love to pick up like another book by her, like maybe the one that got published or released last year. This one I was like super invested, like from the very first page. It was super interesting until you get to part 5. And then part 5, like some things started happening, and then it kind of changed that dynamic of the characters and the flow of the story. And it took Wavy into like a different time period, a different chapter of her life. And while I never thought the writing declined in any way, it just felt like it wasn't as engaging. It wasn't as gripping as the rest of the story. Now, while saying that, I realized it was integral to part of the story. Like, obviously, Wavy has to age and she has to move on and do different things in her life. And then the ending, finding out different things, was cool, but I just felt like I said, the majority, I don't know, it was like about the 300 page mark. So for 300 pages, 5 out of 5 stars, hands down. And then the last 100 pages, I would rate 4 stars. So that's why I'm giving it like a 4.5 stars, but on Goodreads, I'm rounding it down to a 4 because it's not quite a 5. Good morning, friends. It is day 6 of the Backlist Readathon, and it's Saturday morning, and I am up early. It is 7:09. I think I woke up at 6:30. I have my coffee, and I wanted to give you a reading update of The Simple Wild. I started this yesterday, but it wasn't until like 4 or 5 o'clock that I actually started reading it. But Simple Wild is about our main character, Calla, who her and her mother fled Alaska when Calla was just 2 years old. I guess that her mom obviously was from Toronto and met the dad while he was flying like a different flight or something like that. I forget how they met. But basically he is from Alaska, like, you know, the wilderness of Alaska, like western Alaska, where there's like nothing going on. And that was really depressing for Calla's mother, and she just tried so hard to make it work, but it just wasn't working. So she took Calla and they left, and now it is 24 years later, and Calla's going to see her father up in Alaska because Agnes calls her and tells her that her dad has cancer, and it would be nice for her to see him before he starts treatment. So the first part is all about Calla, and she basically lost her job, her and her boyfriend split up, and she's still living at home, so she doesn't have to worry about like getting a job right away, or she has like nothing tying her down to Toronto, and everything just kind of ended. So it was like this kind of like perfect scenario for her to go. And of course, when she goes, she's in for a rude awakening, like how much different it is. But she's only supposed to stay there a week. I am sorry for not checking in at all today. It is late on a Saturday night, but I'm here with a reading update. I completed The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker, and I desperately wish I wasn't on a book buying ban because I desperately need book 2, Wild at Heart. I loved this so much, and I'm rating it 5 out of 5 stars. So I'm gonna have to update my bullet journal, of course, but this story just like gripped my heart from the moment that Kella landed in Alaska. Banter between Kella and Jonah is like unparalleled. Like, it's so snarky and he's such a dick to her, but like it works for some reason for me. I wish there wasn't like, I wish there was more like an explanation besides like, he's like, I just figured you were like one of those other girls type thing, but like she can give it as much as she takes it, and I loved it so much. But it's like part like this Alaskan adventure, it's part like dealing with the fact that her father's dying of cancer, it's part like meeting these people that are in her father's life and like found family, and just like this whole plane situation, and you know, the balance of her life in Toronto and things going on in Alaska, and just it's just everything, and I loved it so much. So the only book that I have left on my TBR is The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath, but I got some news today that makes me not want to dive into that book. But at the same time, I will have accomplished my entire TBR if I finish it, and it is fairly short, so we shall see. Good morning, friends. Happy day number 7 of the Backlist Readathon. I did decide to go ahead and read The Bell Jar. I didn't know if I was actually going to just like skip it or not. I have read the first chapter of this before, but I started rereading the chapter last night, but I only got like a couple pages in. I'm currently on page 5, but it is a short book. It's 244 pages, so I should definitely be able to finish. I also got the audiobook on Hoopla from my library, so that should also help me, since this is my most anticipated, my most, what is it? What's the prompt called? A book on my backlist that intimidates me the most. Okay, now that I've changed my battery, I'm back. So I just wanted to quickly go over what I read and my final thoughts. So the first book that I read is The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary, and while it was a little bit difficult to get into Leon's parts because of how it was written, I easily fell into the groove and absolutely fell in love with the story. There's lots of good consent, there's friendship, there's funny moments, there's heartfelt moments, and there's other little like side quests and stuff like that. There's LGBT rep in here, and I loved it so much. So I read this on the very first day and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Next up on day 2, I actually read Black Beauty first because it was the shortest book on my backlist book, and so I read that super quick and I rated it 4 out of 5 stars. I'm glad it wasn't as gruesome and as terrible as I was thinking it was gonna be. I was always kind of nervous going into the next part because I knew it was gonna be brutal, and it was. Like, Black Beauty definitely didn't have like an easy life, but overall I know there's horses out there that have it much worse. So I rated that 4 out of 5 stars, and that is checking off another classic that I finally read. And I do want to watch the movie. I'm going to see if it's available on like Amazon Prime or Netflix or something like that. So let me know if you know of a lot of Black Beauty adaptations. Let me know which one is the best down in the comment section down below. I also that day read To Be Honest by Maggie Ann Martin. And the only reason I was able to read like so much on that day is that's the day that my husband went out and played pool with his friend. So I read this, and I also rated it 4 out of 5 stars. Day 3 and 4, I didn't complete anything, but by day 5, I finally completed All the Ugly and Wonderful Things. That's because I was reading this book. It is the longest one. I think it's like 408 pages. But man, this was such a good book. I rated it 4 out of 5 stars. Like, this is a book that I gave 4 stars because the ending wasn't as powerful, wasn't as... Like I said during the vlogging portion of this video, it's almost like the author had, she knew what wanted to happen at the end. She had a very strong foundation in the beginning, but either she ran out of time or she didn't know how she needed to get to the ending, or there's a certain event that takes place that changes the course of all of the characters in this story. And when that event takes place, it changes the flow and the strength of the story and the storytelling, in my opinion. And I didn't like that part. So that's why I took off a star. I would have taken off like half a star, but I need to distinguish it's not a 5-star, so 4 stars. But dude, I absolutely loved this story. And if you can get over the kind of age gap romance thing, which I don't know, just try to pick it up if you think you can get over that, because you're either gonna love it or hate it, and I loved it. On day 6, I read and finished The Simple Wilds by K.A. Tucker. I believe this is the first K.A. Tucker book that I have ever read, and I definitely want to pick up the sequel to this, even though I've heard it is very different. But I still want to read it. I'm still intrigued, and I want to pick up other K.A. Tucker stuff because I really, really did enjoy this. There was a little part, like the first 50 pages are before she goes to Alaska, and it was about her like losing her job and talking about her life and her shitty boyfriend and all of this stuff. But the time that she gets on the plane to go to Alaska, from there I was totally intrigued throughout. I rated this 5 stars because I really loved it. It was one of those Banty hate to love relationships, and I just loved it so much. So I rated it 5 out of 5 stars. And then yesterday, on day 7 of the readathon, I picked up my most intimidating, man, I keep saying most anticipated, my most intimidating book, The Bell Jar. And I say this was intimidating because I've tried reading it on multiple occasions. When I started, I had like a bookmark in chapter 2, like right here in chapter 2 on page 14. So when I picked it up this time, I was not having a struggle at all. I like fell into the story so quickly, and I think that's because I did get the audiobook and Maggie Gyllenhaal narrates it, and I just love her voice, and it just fit the vibe, and I don't know, it was just like perfect. Now I will say in this one I enjoyed the first half rather than the second half. It was it's kind of hard to rate this, but I'm rating it, what did I rate it, 4 out of 5 stars? Yes, 4 out of 5 stars. It almost feels like more of a 3 to me. And this is the one that I really have like the most to talk about, I guess, because I haven't talked about it with you guys. It's very good writing, and I easily fell into it this time. I don't know, like I said, I probably just wasn't in the mood for it the last time, or the last couple of times I tried it. But this time I really fell into the writing. I really liked Esther's story of when she was in New York. That part I was totally in for. It definitely has like feminist themes, but you also follow Esther as she's having this like spiral, and it's almost like, is she bipolar? Is she depressed? Like, what exactly is going on? I never got a full grasp on like what exactly was the ailment that made Esther break down, but she was very successful in school. She made straight A's all the time. So much so that like when she didn't want to take a course, she would say, hey, I'll still go to the classes, but like I'm not like officially taking it, you know, I'd get an A anyway. And like admin was like, yeah, you're right, you would. So yeah, we'll just let you like sub in on the class. So she was really great at that. She was really into poetry and reading and writing. You're like in this place, and then you're in this place, and then you're in this place, and you don't really know if you go to this place because of like what's going on in her head at this time, but you do kind of feel like you're kind of like bouncing around, flitting around, and the writing is beautiful. You just don't know if you're fully following it, but I think that's like the point. And you don't really like Esther. Well, like I did like Esther in the beginning, but then like not really, and then like I don't know, it's just so weird. Explores that era of the 50s, but it also follows this woman from like seemingly normal, everything's fine, to something happens and she kind of cracks. But yeah, very interesting read. 4 out of 5 stars, and I had a super. I rated nothing below 4 stars. I had 2 5 stars, no. I had 2 5 stars, 4 4 stars, and I call that a very successful reading. So total number of books is 6, total pages read 1,876 pages. So what I did is I wrote the day that I finished the book, like day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7, the star rating, and then down here at the bottom I wrote how many books and how many pages, and then over here I will fill in. I'm gonna start editing my vlog tonight and see how far I get in that, and then I will try to have it up as soon as possible because I know some of you out there are needing to escape reality right now. So anyway, I thank you guys so much for hosting. Thank you for joining. Thank you for sharing your thoughts and feelings about the books I was gonna read. Now I can share my thoughts and feelings with you. Let me know anything you want down in the comment section down below. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys in another video soon. Hope you're having a lovely day or night.